Firstly, allow me to briefly explain the rules of this class trial. The results of the class trial will be decided solely by your votes. If you manage to correctly identify the blackened, only they will receive punishment. Everyone except for the blackened will be punished, and they will be able to escape this field trip of mutual killing. Well, first and foremost...
Wait a minute, Monocro. There's something I'd like to ask first.
Oh, and what might that be?
Accomplices. Can there be accomplices in a case?
Good question. Whether or not there are accomplices will be a huge factor in deciding the culprit.
A good question indeed. I guess it wasn't specified in the rules. To be blunt, there can be accomplices.
What? So it's possible?
But in theory. Only one person gets to actually leave the island anyway.
Of course. The rules even say that only the first murder counts if more should occur. In other words, without any reward, an accomplice is no more than another tool for the culprit.
They'd gain nothing from assisting the culprit, after all. Even if they succeeded, they'd be unable to escape the island alongside the blackened. More importantly, they'd still face the same execution as the rest of us.
He's got that right.
Wait, what's that?
Oh, that. You don't need to concern yourself with it. It would have been Yuri Kagorin's seat, but it's rather sad to just leave a blank space there.
That's an awful sense of humor you've got there.
Wait, something's off about this. What's that empty seat over there? Whose is it?
It's exactly what it looks like, an empty seat. There's no need to concern yourself with that either. You're very interested in the petty details, aren't you? Questions are fine, but shouldn't you be discussing the murder first?
Right. This place is extremely unpleasant. I'd like to leave as soon as possible.
It might be the last place you ever see if we don't figure out who the culprit is.
Say such terrible things! Wait, all of you.
Huh? What is a Kokoro?
I know who the culprit is.
What? Are you serious?
Who is it? Who's the culprit?
I know who the culprit is, and I know exactly how they did it. So I'll give them the chance to speak. Give yourself up now. Perhaps then I may understand that you regret your actions. You'll be found out anyway, and it's better to confess rather than have it dragged out of you. Nobody's confessing.
Obviously. What kind of idiot would tell the truth? They'd be sentencing themselves to death.
All right. We'll do this the hard way.
So who's the culprit, Coco?
I can't tell you that right now.
What? Why are you screwing around? Just tell us. We don't know who it is, so just tell us so we can get this over with. Like Sosie said, I don't want to be here any longer than I have to be.
Would you be able to comprehend it? Even if I did tell you, I would be lucky to be believed. I sense that a few of you are suspecting me already.
Aha, your powers of observation are truly outstanding.
This is a class trial. All of our lives are on the line here. We need to find a conclusion that everyone finds acceptable, so that there is no doubt who the culprit is when we all cast our votes. Figure it out for yourselves as much as you can. I'll help you if you get stuck.
This is totally suspicious.
Hibiki, don't dismiss her when we haven't even started yet.
What? What's with that condescending attitude, huh? Do you think I'm an idiot?
Oh, sis, your mood's back up again.
Duh, of course. I don't want to sit around moping forever. I'm really scared, but I'll do whatever it takes to stay alive.
I see. That's good, sis.
Let's get started then.
Wait a moment. May I say something as well?
What is it now?
I imagine that some of you may suspect me simply because I'm the mastermind. Your opinions on me as a person are inconsequential. But please, for all of our sakes, treat me as just another student during the class trial. We would all die if we reached the wrong conclusion, after all. I don't want to die either, you know?
That's Exactly what the real culprit would say!
Oh, come now. This is a prime example of what you should not do.
Shinji, I'm sorry, but he's right. If Mikado wanted to act as the mastermind, he had plenty of opportunities to do so before. Everyone here is a suspect, including Mikado and I. The purpose of this discussion is to narrow down that list.
I see. I understand. I'll try my best.
So, can we start now?
Where should we begin? If you're confused, try starting with what we know happened in this case.
Do your best. My life's on the line too.
Riri died at 7:30 in the morning. 30 minutes after the morning announcements.
Is it true that Sora and Yuki were together at the scene of the crime?
Yes, Yuri contacted me. After I woke up this morning, and I saw the message asking for help, I immediately ran to the bell tower. I saw Yuri hanging from a rope, badly injured. And before I could do anything, he was dragged up. His corpse fell to the ground moments later.
There were so many cuts on Yuri's body. Could the murder weapon be a sharp object?
Shoot! To begin, Riri died at 7:30 in the morning.
Crap!
To begin, Riri died 30 minutes.
Is it true?
Yes, Yuri contacted me. After I woke up this morning.
Shoot! To begin, 30 minutes.
Is it true?
Yeah, and I saw, and before I...
There were so... Could the murder weapon be a sharp object?
No, that's wrong!
No, Iroha. Yuri couldn't have been killed by a sharp object. If you check the monochrome file, it says that the cause of death was blunt force trauma. In other words, Yuri's death was likely caused by his fall.
Oh, I see. There were so many cuts on his body that I overlooked that.
Then what are those cuts from?
Got it! His injuries were caused by the sharp wires.
Wires?
Did you see all the wires strung in between the empty space in the middle of the spiral staircase? Yuri was dragged up by a rope and was cut by the wires as he fell to the ground. He fell very quickly, which is why the wounds are so thin, and yet...
Oh, so that's why the cuts were there.
You never even checked the monochrome file? I can't believe you call that an investigation.
I'm sorry!
Hey, it was an honest mistake. Don't pick on her.
An honest mistake? It's rich of you to say that when we could all die from it. I can't leave my life up to you all if you keep acting like idiots.
Leave your life up to us.
Everyone's lives depend on the outcome of this trial, not just mine, yeah? If the rest of you work hard to find out the culprit, I don't have to waste my own energy.
What? You're basically saying that you're going to leech off of us?
I will intervene if I have to, but I'm not a fan of inefficiency. You're working to save your own hides, so isn't this a favorable outcome for us all?
ruffian! Have you never even heard of the concept of cooperation with someone?
Now, everyone. We won't accomplish anything if we let ourselves be distracted by people such as Mr. Hashimoto. Let's carry on with deliberations, shall we?
But if the culprit wanted to kill Yuri by dropping him, why did they go through the trouble of installing all of those wires?
I'm not sure. I think we'll have to talk about it a little more.
All right. So could everyone tell me what they were doing at the time of Riri's death?
Like I said, Sora and I saw Yuri's death with our own eyes. We were together, so does that count as our alibi?
I was alone in my room.
Do I have to tell you? I was just wandering around the place.
Mr. Kagurine died around 7:30 a.m. So everyone besides Mr. Maeda, Miss Sora, Miss Mitsume, and Mr. Hashimoto must have been in the dining hall.
No, Yoriko wasn't there.
Yuko, where were you and what were you doing at the time?
I was also at the bell tower. I met Yuki and Sora there.
The bell tower? But that's the scene of the crime, isn't it? If Sora and Yuki were there because of the message. Yoriko, what were you doing there?
What was I doing?
Kanade, just in case it comes up later, Yoriko technically witnessed Yuri's death with us. You heard the body discovery announcement, right? It's only announced when 3 or more people find the body. Sora and I saw it first, and Yoriko a little while after.
Hold on, Mr. Maeda. You claim that Mr. Kagurine was hoisted by a rope?
What? Yeah?
Then it stands to reason that the two of you witnessed the culprit, no?
What? Really?
If the Blacken dragged Mr. Kagurine with a rope up to the top of the bell tower, our 2 witnesses would have immediately followed afterwards in pursuit.
I see. Because the only way down from the top of the tower is down the spiral staircase. Whether the culprit went down or Sora and Yuki went up, they would definitely bump into each other at some point somehow.
Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. We did get to the top of the bell tower, but Yoriko was the only one up there.
That means Yoriko's the culprit.
What?
Isn't it obvious? Like Emma said, the only way to climb up the tower is by using the stairs. If you don't have a good excuse like Yuki and Sora, and you've been looking worried from the start, it's clear to everyone that Yoriko's the culprit. Don't you think so, sis?
Huh? But, Kanade, we just said that Ruko's a witness.
Sis, please just think for a moment. Yoriko doesn't have an alibi, and she has no reason to be in the bell tower if she's not related to the case.
I guess. When you put it that way, Ruko does sound pretty suspicious. Hey now! Who are you calling suspicious?
Okay then, Yuko. Can you tell us why you were at the bell tower? You and Rara just told us that they were there because they got a message from Riri. Tell us why you were there, then we won't have a reason to doubt you.
I don't know.
What? Are you kidding me right now?
Yoriko's situation sounds kind of complicated. I thought she was the culprit at first too, but after I heard her testimony, I'm not so sure that's right.
Yoriko, calm down and tell us your side of the story.
I went outside as soon as the monocruise's door opened, so I could start my morning investigation before breakfast began. Then someone attacked me from behind, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was at the top of the bell tower next to Sora and Yuki.
Do you have any proof? For example, someone who saw you leave early.
What? No, nobody saw me.
No, that's wrong!
Actually, there was someone who saw Yoriko leave early this morning. Shinji, you said you saw her, right?
Me? Well, yeah, I definitely saw Yoriko leaving early this morning.
You guys sure do get up early, don't you? What were you guys doing?
Hajime and I go jogging every morning, you know? I woke up early, so I was waiting for him in the hallway. Hajime was late because he had to use the bathroom. And I saw Yoroku leaving as soon as the monocruise door opened up.
It's like I said, I'm not lying.
However, while we've proven that you left the ship early, can we really be certain that it was for the sake of investigation?
What?
Doesn't that just make you even more suspicious? The murder did happen this morning, after all. And the culprit who killed Mr. Kagurine definitely wasn't in the monocruise this morning.
That's true, but...
So, does that mean Yoroko really is the culprit?
Wait a minute! Why is everyone accusing me when I haven't done anything? I told you, I don't know how or why I was there. I lost consciousness right after I left.
Assuming what Yoroko says is the truth, the culprit attacked her and moved her to the bell tower to pin the blame on her?
But then there's no explanation for how Yuri was pulled to the top.
Maybe the culprit was hiding somewhere at the top of the tower?
No, we looked around for a bit, but it's an exposed area with almost no furniture around. It would be very difficult for someone to hide themselves up there.
If Yoriko can't explain herself, we have no choice but to assume she's the culprit.
Yeah. Wait, that's not true. I'm not.
Don't jump to conclusions. Yoriko isn't lying.
Coco.
Listen to her voice. She's telling the truth.
I know you're a psychologist, Koro, but how can you be so sure?
The method you're using to deduce Yoriko's alleged culpability is far too short-sighted. Look at the bigger picture instead of focusing solely on her. Such as why Yuri was killed, perhaps.
Why was Yuri killed?
Speaking of which, didn't Yuri lock himself in his room after telling the girls to kill him? It'd be awfully difficult to drag that guy out of his room.
Hardly. If he was serious, a girl would only need to knock, and Yuri would open his door.
Are you saying that the culprit is a girl?
So, doesn't it all point to Ruko anyway?
I'm telling you, it's not me!
Wait, everyone. If the culprit were a man, wouldn't that make the crime that much more ingenious? The obvious answer would be that the culprit is a woman, but if it was a man, they would be able to exclude themselves from the list of suspects for that reason.
But Yuri's the kind of guy who hates even being spoken to by another guy.
As long as Yuri had locked himself in his room, a man would have never been able to lure him out.
I see. The party last night. Yuri was at that party, wasn't he? Didn't he drink late into the night too?
Oh yeah, he was there.
So then if someone attacked Yuri right after the party ended, it could have easily been a man.
Yes, that's true.
You're taking that into account now? Quick-witted bunch, aren't you?
You asshole! You're not even participating in the discussion!
What, do you want me to help? That'll be a million crows. I'll figure this all out for you then.
Shut up, you Scrooge!
If Sora's right, a man really could have attacked Yuri. But that's no reason to rule out a girl as a culprit.
Of course. She said that the culprit could be a man, not that they couldn't be a woman. For a man like Mr. Kagurine, the idea of him giving up his life to a woman that approached him during the festivities is all too plausible.
Yeah, but I'm curious about something. The party was last night, right? Yuri died this morning. If the culprit attacked Yuri after the party, wouldn't that mean the culprit was inside the monocruise during nighttime? The monocruise doors lock after 10 p.m.
Yeah. If the party was last night and the murder happened this morning, there's a huge gap of time missing between them.
So the question is, if a man really did attack Riri after the party, what was he doing until morning?
But didn't all the people who were drinking late into the night return to the monocruise before 10 p.m.?
I can't really remember.
Probably. I was the only sober one there. Although, Yuri was late. He told me he'd be stopping by the bathroom.
I get it! That was when somebody kidnapped Rin then!
No, that doesn't make sense, because the murder happened at the bell tower just after the morning announcement. The culprit would have been locked inside the monocruise. They wouldn't have had any time to prepare for the murder.
You're assuming things again. There's no rule that says you have to stay inside the monocruise during nighttime.
What? But the rules.
State that the monocruise doors close at 10 p.m. and that sleeping outside the dorms is not allowed. That's all. If the culprit never boarded the monocruise, they would be free to wander the island after the door was locked. If they stayed up all night, they wouldn't be breaking any rules.
Being outside the monocruise at night isn't a rule violation? Is that true?
Yes, I've done it before. I wondered what would happen if I slept during the day, and nothing happened. The doors opened in the morning, and I was able to board the monocruise as usual.
But didn't Monocro say that monsters would be wandering the island at night? You still could have been injured, Coco.
I was fine. I stayed on the main roads and never ran into any sort of monster. Although I do wonder if something may be hidden in the forest.
If Kokoro is telling the truth, it's possible that Yuri never re-entered the monocruise last night. According to Yoriko, he did return, just much later than everyone else. But isn't it possible that he was attacked and then placed in the bell tower until this morning?
According to that theory, the culprit is one of the people who were drinking late into the night. What do you think, Yoriko? You're one of the people who stayed behind, aren't you? Well, that's true. But it wasn't me. I got back to the monocruise with everyone else.
About that, none of us were exactly sober, so we don't really remember that. Sorry, Yuko.
What?
They were all drunk as skunks.
Indeed, and none of them can recall a thing. Speaking of which, I don't recall seeing any alcohol during the preparations for the party.
Oh, you're right.
And yet, there was alcohol abound in the beverages by the time the party started. I believe this is no mere coincidence.
Are you saying that the culprit put alcohol in the drinks in order to get everyone drunk and fog up their memories?
Wait, isn't it possible that someone impulsively committed a murder because they were under the influence at the time?
No. You can tell by looking at the crime scene that someone put a great deal of thought into this murder. It doesn't fit an intoxicated cover-up.
If the culprit brought the alcohol, doesn't that mean they helped organize the party?
Who are the ones organizing the party?
You, Ra-Ra, Mac, Yuko, Mikado, and myself. Just the 6 of us.
Yoriko is nothing but suspicious.
So the culprit's someone that helped with the party and stayed out last night, and they would have to be sober. That's what you're saying?
Hey, wait a second. The only person who wasn't, she said she'd be chaperoning Dry, since we had to get back by 10 p.m.
No, I mean that's true, but...
That's...
The evidence all lines up.
Yoriko, can you explain what happened in more detail? We just want to believe you.
You're not listening to me. Aren't you taking this a little too far? Look, I'm innocent. To be accused as the culprit because of a series of coincidences. I can still defend myself, you know? Listen to me before you start talking. I know I have to accede to your unjust accusations. But if I'm really the culprit, do you really think that I'd go about it this way? Like you said, Yuri would have done anything for a woman, even die for her. There's no reason for me to wait until the party to kill him in such a complicated manner.
The culprit may have waited until the party because of their plan involving the alcohol. Like we said before, they used it to dull everyone's memories so they could easily get away with their plan. The fact that Yuri attended the party in itself could indicate that he was working with the culprit.
So you're just saying that I'd do something as stupid as intentionally going to the party? If I was the culprit, I wouldn't go about it that way. If you two weren't at the tower with me, you wouldn't be suspecting me. Is that how it is? Just because of that, you're suspecting me.
I'll pierce through those words! It's not just that, Yoriko. Shobai told me that he saw you going to the bell tower this morning.
What?
He also said you were holding a long rope.
A rope? The same rope that Rinrin was tied up with?
Shobai, you were telling the truth, right?
Huh? I was. At the time, I didn't know that woman would be so important to the case. I was wondering what she was planning to do with something like that. Now that I think about it, that was a really important piece.
Wait, he's lying! Shobai isn't telling the truth. He really was attacked by someone as soon as I left the Mono Cruise. He's trying to slander me. He's the culprit.
Even if you say that,
Yeah, all the evidence is stacked against you.
it's almost undeniable. Or maybe you're just an idiot, Yoriko.
What? Why are you all accusing me? Why me?
Mr. Hashimoto's testimony is the most damning thing here. How do you plan to defend yourself against that?
Yuko, are you really the culprit?
Wait, Shobai really is lying.
What?
Sora, did Shobai mention when he saw Yoriko leave?
That's... Yoriko left right after the morning announcement, so wouldn't that be around 7 a.m.?
I was on the second floor of the library at the time, and I saw Shobai climbing the stairs from the second to the third floor. Shobai, even if you did see Yoriko leave, unless you knew her destination beforehand, you'd have trouble figuring out she was headed for the bell tower.
And didn't you say you saw Yoroku holding a rope?
Shobai, were you lying to me?
Ha! So you caught me out. Sorry about that, but I wanted to test you all. Test us? Like I said, if you clear the class trial for me, I'm good. I was testing whether you could really do it without my interference.
What? You gotta be joking!
Just a little bit of perjury, really. I didn't think the psychologist would realize. Well, whatever. I'm counting this as a win.
Asshole! What the hell are you doing?
Settle down, Mr. Kasai. Violence is against the school rules.
Calm down, Shin. You can beat him up after we get out of here.
That proves my innocence, right? Shobai's the one who lied. He's even more suspicious than I am.
I don't know. His testimony might be false, but you're still the most likely suspect.
But we're being cruel to Yoriko, aren't we? We should talk about this some more.
No, Ruko's definitely the killer.
I don't want to suspect my friends. I want to believe everyone instead.
Well, this is rather complicated, isn't it? We seem to be split right down the middle.
If that's the case, let's decide with a proper debate. Please remain calm as your seats are rearranged.
Yoriko is the only one that went to the party and fits all of the criteria.
This one's mine. We still need to figure out if the party is even relevant to the case.
Knowing Yuri, the killer has to be a woman.
Emma!
We've already established that the murder could have been committed by either a man or a woman.
Ruko's the only one with a super suspicious alibi.
Yoriko!
Kokoro and Shobai don't even have alibis. Why are you accusing me?
But, Yoriko, weren't you the only one who handled the food at the party?
She could have taken advantage of the fact that we were drunk to forge her alibi.
Shinji!
Yoroku wasn't the only one who wasn't drunk. So shouldn't we suspect the others too?
Yoriko is our only suspect, so there's nothing else we can do.
Setsuka!
We haven't even talked about the possibility of another suspect besides Yuko.
Yoriko is the only one that went to the party and
This one's mine. We still need to figure out if the party is even relevant to the case. Emma!
We've already established that the murder could have been committed by either a man or a woman.
Ruko's the
Yoriko!
Kokoro and Shobai don't even have alibis. Why are you accusing me?
But, Yoriko, weren't you the only one who handled the food at the party?
Kokodo!
False. Yoriko was not the only one who handled the food at the party.
She could have taken advantage of the
Shinji!
Yoroku wasn't the only one who wasn't drunk. So shouldn't we suspect the others too?
Yoriko is Setsuka!
We haven't even talked about the possibility of another suspect besides Yuko.
This is our answer!
It seems that a conclusion has continued to evade us.
At any rate, it's wrong to conclude that Yoriko's the killer when there's still so many unanswered questions. We need to discuss this some more.
Sora.
Okay. I don't want to doubt my friends any longer either. Let's drop the subject of the culprit and discuss some other things first.
Wait, so we're back to square one?
Good thinking. Unlike a regular trial, a single misstep will result in tragedy. We need to keep discussing this until we reach a decisive conclusion.
I mean, Kokoro, don't you know who the culprit is? Can't you just tell us so we can call it a day?
You all currently believe Yoriko is the culprit. Would you even be able to accept it if I named someone else?
So you don't believe Miss Kabuya is the culprit?
Alright, so instead of who they are, let's talk about how the culprit did it.
How they did it?
We're not sure whether the culprit attacked Riri this morning or after the party. Did you forget what the culprit did before they killed Riri?
Got it! Are you talking about the hook that was embedded in Yuri's calf?
Yeah, you said it was already embedded when you first saw him, right? Even if Riri was drunk, he wouldn't have just stayed still while the culprit stuck that thing into his leg. They would have had to restrain him by any means possible.
So you're saying we should discuss how the culprit went about doing that?
We might have all been plastered, but Riri wouldn't have just stayed still while someone stuck a hook into him.
Maybe they stunned him by hitting him with a blunt weapon?
No, they wouldn't risk Yuri dying right there.
Regardless, it's certain that the culprit did something to immobilize Yuri's body.
Perhaps he was so drunk that he passed out. Wait, no, that's dumb. I'm sorry.
We might have all been plastered, but Riri wouldn't have just stayed still while someone...
Maybe they stunned him by hitting him with a blunt weapon?
No, that's wrong! I have evidence that the culprit didn't use such a straightforward method, Hibiki. We found traces of an anesthetic solution.
Anesthetic solution?
Kanade told me that it's similar to the kind used in the operating room during major surgeries.
Yes, you can get some from the infirmary.
Its presence at the bell tower leaves no doubt that the culprit used the anesthetic to subdue Mr. Kagurine.
Wait, do you think that's the same thing the culprit used when they attacked me?
Maybe, but that's besides the point, Yoriko, so be quiet.
Fine.
And there's one more thing I know about the anesthetic.
Got it.
Kanade went to the infirmary after finding the anesthetic, and she discovered that a single syringe had disappeared.
A syringe?
Yes. You can use that particular syringe to conveniently calculate the sedation time using the scale on the barrel.
That's great and all, but how do you know all?
I watch a lot of medical dramas. Is there a problem?
I'm not saying there's a problem, but
No one found a syringe or anything like that while investigating, right? That means...
The culprit still has the syringe with them.
Should we frisk everyone here?
I doubt they'd be idiotic enough to have it on their person. But we can be sure that they hid it somewhere.
If they used a syringe with an anesthetic solution, they could subdue Yuri even if he wasn't drunk.
There's one thing that's really bothering me. When Sora and I last saw Yuri, he seemed convinced a woman was trying to take his life. Saying things like, not everyone gets to be killed by a cute classmate, and being born a man and achieving my dream.
Said that as he was about to die? Eek!
So if he said that, does that make the culprit a woman after all?
The thing that's bothering me is that Yuri told all of us that, but they restrained him and waited until he was drunk. If the culprit was a female, that wouldn't be necessary.
That's what I've been saying since the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. It'd just create more evidence, right?
let's review. Assuming the culprit is male, he would only be able to target Yuri after yesterday's party. We still have no idea what happened before nighttime, though. Assuming the culprit is female, she would be able to get to Yuri at any time inside the monocruise. However, she wouldn't have had enough time to prepare for the crime in the morning. Like the other scenario, we still have no idea what happened before nighttime.
About what happened before nighttime. Doesn't it seem possible that the culprit's preparations took place during that time?
What?
Like Kokoro said, anyone can stay outside the monocruise at night using the loophole in the rules. We can't explain how the culprit prepared for their crime during the short time frame in the morning. So we can just assume by default that it took place at night.
That's almost 9 hours. Would it really take them that long to prepare for the murder?
I'm not sure. They just need to prepare the hooks, the rope, the anesthetic, the wires, and... that's all, I think.
Wait. None of you can possibly think that the culprit simply dragged Yuri up with just a rope, do you?
Huh?
I did think something was amiss when you began accusing Yoriko. You've been mistaken from the beginning.
What are you talking about?
The culprit didn't just drop Yuri to his death after dragging him up from the bell tower.
Then, what else did they do?
Oh, I see. It was so obvious that I almost missed it. In hindsight, it's clear. Think. Yuri was short, but it's physically impossible for anyone to drag him hundreds of feet out to the bell tower. I doubt even Shinji could do it.
Really? If you used a lever of sorts, it might be possible.
Yes, it's possible. However, we were wrong in our initial assumption that the culprit was the one who pulled Yuri up.
Our initial assumption was wrong?
So what? What's the problem?
Allow me to remedy this situation. Kanade's explanation is correct. Think, Sora. You've seen the evidence too. I can remind you if you don't remember. Yuri was dragged to the top of the tower at a great speed. This is an impossible feat for a regular person to accomplish. How was the culprit able to achieve this? The speed in which Yuri was dragged up indicates something was pulling him down from the other side, don't you think? And you didn't find anyone on the top of the bell tower, so therefore, you can figure this out for yourself, can't you? Yuri was dragged to the top of the tower at a great speed. This is an impossible feat for a regular person to accomplish. How was the culprit able to achieve this? The speed in which Yuri was dragged up indicates something was pulling him down from the other side, don't you think? And you didn't find anyone on the top of the bell tower, so therefore, you can figure this out for yourself, can't you?
I agree with that. It's possible that Yuri wasn't dragged up by the culprit. It's more logical to think that he was pulled up in reaction to something else.
What are you talking about?
There was a hook stuck in Yuri's calf, which was attached to a long rope. We thought that someone pulled Yuri up by that rope, but if you think about it, it's physically impossible for someone to do that on their own.
Huh? Are you sure?
Furthermore, I discovered something with Setsuka earlier.
Oh, you're talking about the life jacket, aren't you?
Yes, someone had left it hidden outside of the bell tower. We found the same kind of hook that was stuck in Yuri's calf embedded into the life jacket, and that hook was attached to a rope. However, the end was cut off.
So, what does that mean?
Oh! So in other words, Yuri was connected to the life jacket by the hooked end of the rope. If the culprit jumped down from the bell tower while wearing the life jacket, Yuri would be pulled by the other end. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Exactly. That's what the culprit did. Wait, I don't get it. So why was Ruko at the top of the bell tower?
Well, according to Yoriko, she was attacked and found herself unconscious, and then awoke at the top of the bell tower. When Yuki and I met Yuri on the first floor, the culprit must have been waiting for us at the top of the bell tower, along with the unconscious Yoriko, of course.
That explains why Miss Kabuya was the only one there when Miss Sora and Mr. Maeda arrived. She was a red herring. The real culprit couldn't have been there. After all, they were already outside the bell tower when Mr. Kagarin was pulled up.
It makes sense in theory, but I don't think he'd be able to be pulled up so easily.
Why not?
There's tons of other factors involved.
Sora, do you remember the bell ringing as Yuri was being pulled up?
Yes, and now I think I know why. Got it! The culprit threaded the rope through the hanging bell and used it as a fulcrum. I can't draw that well, but I'll draw you a picture to illustrate. Iroha, may I borrow your sketchbook? This is how the culprit did it. As you all know, the hole in the top of the bell is very small, small enough that the hook can't pass through it. I suspect that the culprit attached the hooks after first threading the rope through the hole.
That's really high up. How is that even possible? Well, I get it, but Sora, your drawings could use some improvement.
Wait, how did the culprit adjust the length of the rope? It sounds simple in theory, but they could have easily fallen to their death if they'd miscalculated.
I believe they practiced it beforehand. If you look at the marks on the bell, They don't look shallow enough to have been made by a single attempt.
Are you proposing that the culprit practiced this act many times before committing the actual crime?
Yes. The hooks that were connected to Yuri couldn't have passed through the hole in the bell, so the culprit wouldn't fall. The marks on the bell are probably from the friction caused by the rope, and also from the metal hooks scraping against the bell. After the culprit used the correct rope length to reach the surface, they could cut the end of the rope attached to the life jacket, and Yuri would fall to the ground due to the shifting weight and balance. This is the truth of the crime scene that Yuki and I witnessed.
Wait a moment. Even if the culprit accounted for the length of the rope, the bell tower is far too tall. If they fell while hanging from just a life jacket with a hook, the force from the landing would dislocate their shoulders.
Got it! Earlier, Emma was wondering why the culprit would go through all the trouble of setting up those wires. The answer to Kanadi's question is probably the broken wires.
The broken wires?
Yuri was cut by the wires as he was dragged up at a high speed. The resulting friction in the process may have had the effect of cushioning the impact.
Now I get it. The wires weren't meant to kill Yuri, but rather to lessen the impact of the fall. This explains why the culprit went through the tedious work of setting up those wires.
Without a doubt.
There's something bothering me. If the wires were sharp enough to slice through flesh, why didn't they cut the rope? If it really was that sharp, it should have cut the rope attached to Yuri too.
That rope was made from special materials. It's a tough one from the mart that won't break unless you carefully cut through its padding. I thought it was cool, so I took note of it. I didn't expect it to be used in a murder, though.
So, Ruko's not the culprit?
That's what I've been telling you from the start. I'm a victim here too.
That's too bad.
What? What do you mean that's too bad?
Now we have to suspect everyone besides you as the culprit. How are we supposed to narrow it down to the culprit now?
I see. So we're back at the start?
Not really. We did learn something from the previous discussion. The culprit should have been outside the monocruise during nighttime after they kidnapped Yuri.
Huh? How do you know that?
Think about it. If the culprit was able to do test runs to adjust the rope's length exactly as they needed, then they must have had enough time to do so. Being outside during nighttime with no one else but Yuri gives the culprit plenty of time to run trials without anyone finding out.
Good point. Someone surely would have noticed the culprit if he was doing trial runs during daytime.
Furthermore, there was a prevailing misconception that no one could exit the monocruise during nighttime. I'm sure the culprit thought there would be a good time to test their plan.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we still held that belief until now when people like Kokoro already knew that wasn't the case.
Well, I just stayed up all night once.
Based on the previous discussion, we can infer that the culprit is a man. As we already know, a woman would have no reason to use such difficult methods.
It's true that Mr. Kagarin's death would be automatically attributed to a woman due to his previous outburst. So, should a man have committed the crime, the very act of murder itself would become his alibi. A rather clever ploy, I must admit.
So now that we know that, we can just narrow it down from all the guys here, right?
In that case, we already know the culprit. It's either Mikado or Shobai. Shobai doesn't have an alibi, and Mikado's the mastermind.
Please do not forget my sincere wish for a class trial free of prejudice. It should be unquestionably clear that I am giving it my all to unveil the truth.
Huh? Shobai, were you asleep this whole time?
Still not over.
You must be crazy. Our lives are at stake right now, and you just dozed off?
Hey, you've got all you need. I know the whole story, but you guys don't need my help to figure it out. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep lately. Wake me up when it's over.
He's insane!
Anyways, Shobai or Mikado being the culprit seems unlikely, big bro. The culprit must have stayed late at the party last night to kidnap, but neither Mikado or Shobai were included in that group.
But you know, can't Mikado use magic? You've seen him flying around like nothing. Kidnapping Yuri with those abilities would be a piece of cake!
Nox's second law. All supernatural and preternatural agencies are ruled out as a matter of course.
What the heck is that?
An absolute code of logic in detective fiction that cannot be violated. It forbids supernatural or unrealistic phenomena from interfering with murders.
Oh, I know that! Isn't it from Umineko when they cry?
I give you my most sincere, emphatic vow that I do not use my magic for matters relating to murder cases.
I'm not sure I get it, but how can you be so sure? Do you really think we'd ever believe the word of the mastermind?
It seems I am left with little choice. Monochrome, I humbly request that you add a new rule. Mikado Sanoji cannot use magic for any purpose relating to a murder case.
Are you sure about that rule?
Absolutely. I've already resolved to seal my magic, and its very existence seems to be a hindrance to the natural progression of this trial. I wish to use this opportunity to clarify my position within this killing game.
Very well. The regulations will be updated once the trial is over. Mikado Sanoji cannot use magic for any purpose relating to a murder case. As a reminder, the penalty will be execution should you fail to comply.
I understand completely. You have my deepest gratitude.
So, Mikado can't be the culprit.
Why are you trying to make this problem harder than the answer is already out? There's a suspicious individual who satisfies every condition.
Huh?
You spoke about the conditions to be the culprit beforehand. Think it over. The individual you referred to is in plain sight.
The conditions that we brought up were...
The culprit was among those who stayed late at yesterday's party. The culprit was also part of the group that prepared the party.
Additionally, we figured out that the culprit is a man while discussing the Life Fest and the murder rehearsals.
It can only be you!
Was it you? Hajime Makinochi.